Hello everyone, I am super excited to have you here. Yesterday we had seen regarding the motivation. So let us start our today's session emotions. That is subtopic of motivation and emotional process. Before going to the topic, subscribe my channel if you had not done it. Let us see this image. It clearly says that girl emotion, that what she felt in her mind. Let us see about the definition of emotion. Emotion is an affective experience that accompanies generalized inner adjustment and mental and physiological stirred up states in the individual that shows itself in his overt behavior, whatever he experiences in life. That is about the adjustment and mental and the physiological states of the individual. Coming to the components of emotion, there are mainly four types of emotions: subjective feeling, emotional expression, physiological changes, and conscious experiences. Coming to the subjective feeling, here what happens? Whatever you believe and what you are feeling, these emotional feelings are experienced before the expression. Then coming to the emotional expression, this is also known as expressive behavior. Here it can be explained in three ways: facial, vocal and bodily movement or gestures. Coming to the facial expressions, some of the emotions like guilt, joy and anger, it can be seen through the facial expressions. Then next, voice. Voice also tells us about the emotional state of an individual, how the emotions screams, like it communicates fear, surprise. Like some trembling voice means it indicates sorrow. If it is loud, sharp and high pitched voice means it indicates anger. Coming to the bodily movement and gestures, it's that bodily movements or gestures also indicate the emotional state of an individual. For example, in case of anger, some person clench their fists and some moves forward to attack. Then third one, physiological changes. Physiological changes in the sense it is mainly due to the autonomic nervous system and the endocrine system. Mainly adrenaline gets circulated to different parts of the body and it involves in the some types of changes, like there will be increased BP and heart rate, there will be change in the rate of the respiration, increased blood sugar level and muscular tensions and tremors. Along with this, it also affects the by the parasympathetic nervous system. If that affects, it leads to reduction of heart rate and BP, diversion of blood to the internal organs and the digestive tract, and regulation of salt and water level in the body. Then finally, conscious experiences. Whatever we call emotion, it's not only a pattern of bodily changes, it is also an experience. Then what are the changes that occurs when the emotion comes? The changes in the emotional reaction. It is mainly three changes will happen: external changes, internal changes and psychological changes. Coming to the changes in the emotional reaction. In mainly emotional reaction, first of all, the external changes. That external changes includes our facial expressions and bodily movement and gestures, voice disturbances. First of all, how does this facial expression shows? If the face is flushed in the anger and pale in fear, mouth turns down into the unpleasant emotions. Coming to the bodily movement and gestures, how it affect the unexpected fearful situation, it may cause a startle pattern, will get suddenly confused. Then voice disturbances, if suddenly a tremor or a break in the voice happens means it may denotes the deep sorrow. Then coming to the internal changes. Internal changes in the sense whatever the fear and anger we faces, it reflects in internal changes, like the BP may be increased or blood sugar levels will be increased due to the change in the hormones. Then coming to the psychological changes. Psychological changes in the sense it includes perception, our learning will be affected. The consciousness and memory are also affected. That is the changes in the emotional reaction. Then theories of emotion. Theories of emotion showed in 4 types of theories. James Lange theory, Cannon-Bart theory, Schachter-Singer theory and Lazarus theory. First of all, we will see about the James Lange theory. In this theory, they explains about if the person heads to the car in dark area, if it will be in late evening, if he hears some footsteps right behind him in the dark, his heart pounds and his hands will begin to shake. So he interprets fear. Whatever he felt in his mind, that indicates as a fear. This according to the James Lange theory. Then coming to the Cannon-Bart theory. In this Cannon-Bart theory, what he explains, if any perception of an emotion by the stimuli, it produces the message to the cortex and it produces an emotion. For example, if we see in this Cannon-Bart theory, here the perception of an emotion producing the stimuli, then immediately the message will be sent to the cortex and the emotion will be raised. So for example, here if the child is alone in the forest area, then he hears some creaking sound in the hallway, then he starts to tremble and sweat and feels afraid. Then coming to the third one, Schachter-Singer theory. In this, if suppose a person is taking the last bus in the night and he was the only passenger, if suddenly another passenger gets in and takes a seat in the row behind him, when he gets down at the stop, the other passenger also gets down and starts walking behind him, means he will get tingles in his spine because the rush of adrenaline will happen and it causes the fear to him. Thus it explains in the Schachter-Singer theory. Then coming to the last, Lazarus theory. In this Lazarus theory, if we are going to buy some items in the store, if suppose any new 2 persons came with the hood and all, what we will think, they came for robbery, like that we will think and we will get feared. Thus it is explained in the Lazarus theory. Whatever we feel, this theory explains that when an event occurs, a cognitive appraisal will be made and that is based on the result of which the emotion and physiological responses follows. It explained in the Lazarus theory. Then emotional adjustments. Emotional adjustments regarding this emotional stability, it is the maintenance of autonomic nervous system, brain structures and hormones. Coming to the emotional adjustments. Emotional adjustment, it is the maintenance of equilibrium in case of autonomic nervous system, brain structures and the hormones. How the autonomic nervous system acts? It is mainly subdivided into 2 branches, sympathetic and the parasympathetic. Coming to the sympathetic nervous system, in case of unpleasant situations, it will be active, and strong emotional reactions like fear and anger, it stimulates the sympathetic nervous system. Coming to the parasympathetic, it helps us to makes us calm. It inhibits the release of hormones. Then coming to the second aspect, brain structures. This hypothalamus and limbic system are both the structures that control the emotional systems. Then hormones. Hormones helps us in the regulation of our emotions. During the emotional state, during this emotional states, what happens? There will be the increase in the hormonal level in the blood and the urine. Thus, these are all the emotional adjustments. Then how it implicates in the nursing field. First of all, it substitutes the patient's negative emotions, like whatever they feel, fear, depressed and hatred with the hope, the courage and love. She has to replace all those things with good care. coming to the second one, she need to avoid the tension, because she should develop a sound philosophy of life and self-control, and need to reduce the intensity of emotional disturbances. Whatever they feel in the hospital situations, they need to reduce that thing to prevent the uncontrolled emotions. She need to try to reduce the negative emotions. Whatever they feel about the treatment in a negative aspect, she need to reduce that thinking. Try to reduce the unpleasant emotions. Unpleasant emotions disturbs the whole individual if they persist for a longer period. So she need to counsel the client in order to reduce their unpleasant emotions. That's all for today. Next video I am going to speak about the stress and adaptation. So thank you guys for watching this video.